are seeing that travelers are flocking to warmer destinations.
Happening now, with more people hitting the skies this spring break, expect long lines and packed flights. What you need to know before you book.
They actually start in Principles of Hospitality, where they learn all about the restaurant industry, the ins and outs.
And Grapevine IUC culinary students are putting their skills to the test, creating new pizza flavors that you can taste and vote on. Which recipe will come up on top and win over your taste buds? We'll find out next. Strong winds and high fire danger on the way this afternoon. Your storm team forecast is coming up.
Heard the word this week that it was a positive match. The rock used to build the Alamo came out of this portion of the quarry.
And later in the show, a surprising discovery at a popular San Antonio landmark, and just in time for a major restoration. The story behind the stone. The newsfeed starts right now.
With the latest news now, this is the newsfeed.
Good afternoon and welcome to the newsfeed. I'm Nathan Vasquez. We start with breaking news. One person died after a small plane crashed into a wooded area in Mesquite. A Cessna crashed after taking off from the Mesquite Metro Airport Thursday morning. It's unclear whether the plane was departing or arriving. The pilot was the only person aboard the plane at the time. The FFA and NTSB will investigate the crash. Spring break season is officially here, and many TCC students are ready to head out for a much-needed break. But, as always, there's a few things to keep in mind before you pack your bags. Transportation Security Administration is expecting a huge spike in air travel this month. From March 6th to the 24th, they're predicting a 5% increase in passenger volume. So, if you're flying out of DFW or Love Field, plan ahead, arrive early, and expect long lines at security checkpoints. Reminder, have your ID and boarding pass ready to help speed things along. And be sure to check the TSA guidelines on what to pack. You don't want any baggage delays. Also, for summer travelers, a quick heads up. Starting May 7th, you'll need a real ID to fly domestically. But it's not just about getting the best deal. Travel and safety concerns are also top of mind this season. Let's get straight to Lauren Harper, who's live with what you need to know before you book that trip. Lauren?
Yeah, Nate, I haven't yet. In fact, city and county officials, including those in Dallas-Fort Worth, are actually asking spring breakers to think twice before traveling. International travelers, the State Department is asking for them to think about potential risks before going overseas.
Spring break travel expected to break records again.
We are seeing that travelers are flocking to warmer destinations.
AAA says 3 of the top 4 destinations in the U.S. are in Florida, including Fort Lauderdale and Miami. If you plan on hitting the beach there, local leaders have a message for you.
Worst spring break ever.
Let's go, let's go.
In a PSA satirizing reality TV shows, the city of Miami Beach warning potential spring break revelers of restrictions and enforcement actions that may damper your plans.
How you guys doing? What's going on?
You're drinking in public. That's not allowed. This speaker, that's not allowed.
Rule after rule after rule.
Expensive parking, curfews, DUI checkpoints, and a heavy police presence are highlighted. It's part of a larger crackdown following the chaos of recent years, including stampedes and 2 deadly shootings in 2023. Further north, the Volusia County Sheriff doubling down on the message for high schoolers heading to popular county beaches like Daytona or New Smyrna.
If they think we're playing here, we're not. We really don't want you here. I'm going to be honest with you. Nobody wants you here.
There's also warnings for international travelers heading to popular destinations like Mexico. The State Department giving a level 3 travel advisory telling Americans to reconsider travel. With the U.S. Embassy in Mexico saying because of crime, exercise caution in popular areas like Cancun, Playa del Carmen, and Tulum.
The TSA is also asking travelers to be prepared with real ID compliant documents or passports, including those going to the UK. Those traveling should have applied for an ETA. That's an electronic traveler application. Unless you have UK residency, Nate, which basically means you have pre-clearance entrance into the country. Reporting live, Lauren Harper, The Collegian.
All right, thank you, Lauren. Whether you're hitting the beach or heading on a road trip, experts tell us to be sure to plan accordingly. Still need spring break plans? There's still some good news. Last-minute deals are still out there. Our John Patterson shows us where to book for your best bang for your best buck.
Are you dreaming of white sandy beaches? It's not too late to snag some spring break deals.
I'm seeing some really interestingly low airfares for
Expedia travel expert Melanie Fish says she's seen some flights for as much as 40% lower than usual for the month of March. Places like New York to Puerto Rico, LA to Honolulu.
Atlanta to Orlando, Orlando being a top spring break destination, 70% lower than typical.
She says the best way to save is to bundle your flight and hotel.
That's the way to save 30% or even more on your trip.
Here's the catch. You have to be flexible with the dates to score the best savings.
Thursday flights on average are about 17% cheaper than flying on peak days of the week.
Another tip, Fish says prices typically dip in the last week of April. But what if you're beholden to the school year calendar?
Maybe consider a little road trip or even a staycation.
I'm John Patterson reporting.
If you're flying Southwest for spring break, get ready for a big change. Starting May 28th, the airline will start charging for checked bags, ending its long-time free baggage policy. A-list loyalty members and business fare passengers won't have to pay, but for everyone else, the fees are coming.
I'm sad because it's always cheaper for me to fly Southwest because of the luggage. I'm going to have to shop around now.
Spring break crowds in Galveston took a chaotic turn this week with police responding to reports of a shooting, and that starts off our Texas news this afternoon. It happened in the West End during Senior Skip Day, where hundreds of students gathered. Police recovered a gun from the scene, but no one was hurt. 6 people were arrested, though their identities haven't been released. A manhole explosion rocked the campus in Luggett, forcing evacuations, power outages, and an early start to spring break. The blast erupted Wednesday, shooting fire and smoke into the air. Officials even reported a strong gas odor nearby.
Electricity is dangerous. It is an extremely dangerous element. We know that it allows us to do everything that we do in our everyday lives, but we should always be very respectful of it.
Classes are canceled. A manhole explosion rocked the campus in Lubbock, forcing evacuations, power outages, and an early start to spring break. The blast erupted Wednesday, shooting fire and smoke into the air. Officials even reported a strong gas odor nearby. Students were eventually allowed back into their dorms, but staffers were told to stay away from offices. Classes are canceled for the rest of the week as crews work to restore power and investigate what happened. A founding member of a Texas megachurch is facing felony charges for allegedly abusing a child decades ago. Robert Morris, formerly of Gateway Church in Southlake, has been indicted on 5 counts of lewd or indecent acts with a child. Cindy Clemshire says Morris sexually abused her in 1982 when she was 12, when he was a traveling evangelist in Oklahoma. In a 2014 sermon, Morris admitted to sexual immorality, but claimed it was limited to kissing. Now, a grand jury has charged him. Morris resigned from Gateway last year. The church has about 100,000 members across 9 campuses. Continuing coverage now on the measles outbreak in Texas, with outbreaks in West Texas and New Mexico pushing the total of nearly 230. Health officials say the highly contagious virus is the measles, mumps, rubella. Vaccine is 90% effective with 2 doses, but doctors say misinformation is leading to fewer people getting vaccinated.
We should be very alarmed.
2 people have died.
We haven't seen a death of a child from measles in over a decade in this country.
So far, 2 people have died, including a school-aged child in the Lubbock area. Health experts warn more cases and deaths would follow if vaccination rates don't improve. And back here at home, a learning experience that's not only hands-on, but also delicious. Culinary students at Grapevine High School were challenged to create a new pizza recipe, and now the community will help decide the winner. Nicole Nielsen has more on this tasty competition.
It's a taste of delicious pizza and of the real world.
I love cooking so much. I have since I was a little kid.
Students in Grapevine ISD's advanced culinary class were given one simple assignment: create a new pizza. The class worked in 3 teams to develop 3 unique pies: the Maui Mobster, the OG Twist, and the Don Macaroni.
OG Twist, Hunter and Alvin. Yeah. I like the pineapple pizza the best. Pineapple is my favorite on pizza.
But the assignment wasn't just to get creative in the kitchen. Students also calculated costs and pitched their ideas to Wise Guys Pizzeria in Grapevine, where one winning pizza was set to be featured. But to their surprise, all of them made the cut.
Put the bacon on it for you. All of them were so great. We decided that we were going to let the guests decide.
To celebrate, the class took a field trip to see their creations in action. For some, it wasn't just an assignment, but a step toward their career.
My dream is to own a restaurant.
Now it's up to the customers to decide which one will come out on top. Over the next 6 weeks, each pizza will rotate on the menu for 2 weeks, with sales determining the ultimate winner.
There's always the friendly competition that's there as well.
For their instructor, this project goes beyond cooking. It's a full lesson in business, marketing, and real-world problem solving.
They actually start in Principles of Hospitality, where they learn all about the restaurant industry, the ins and outs.
And the best part, the students didn't just pass the assignment, they impressed the pros.
Super excited to have these kids a part of the future story of Wise Guys Pizzeria.
If you're thinking about buying a home, well, we'll have some options that can make it more affordable. Plus, spring is here, and for many, so are the allergies. We'll tell you how to prepare and relieve the symptoms when the news feed returns.
Over 40% of us are living with a disease, obesity. Some blame society, some blame themselves, some feel like there's nothing they can do. But this disease has solutions, including proven treatments like lifestyle and behavioral changes, medications, and weight loss surgery. Head to visitobesity.org/treatments to find out which treatment path is right for you.
Worried about your friend, but don't know how to reach out?
You could say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat with them in VR, it's all good. If you think you should check in, yeah, you should. Whatever gets you talking.
Reach out to a friend about their mental health.
Whatever gets you talking.
Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Mom was always very self-sufficient, but we started noticing things were off.
I was forgetting my responsibilities at work.
I told Mom we should visit a doctor.
Alzheimer's. It was hard to hear that.
Early detection gave us time to seek information and support as a family. I've never felt more connected with Mom.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
An American Airlines flight headed here to DFW made an emergency landing in Denver Thursday night, and moments later, the plane caught fire. Check this out. Passengers had to evacuate onto the wing as smoke poured from the aircraft. American says the plane had an engine-related issue after landing. Luckily, all 172 passengers and 6 crew members made it off safely. The FAA is now investigating what went wrong. The federal agency investigating the deadliest U.S. aviation disaster in 20 years is warning of future risks if changes aren't made at Washington's Reagan National Airport. The NTSB says there's an intolerable risk of mid-air collisions near the airport, where American Eagle flight crashed into an Army helicopter in January, killing 67 people.
Let me repeat that. They pose an intolerable risk to aviation safety.
The agency is calling for new flight restrictions over the Potomac River. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says temporary restrictions put in place after the crash will stay in effect. Spring is here, and while some can't wait for the sunshine and fun, others may be dreading prying allergies, but there's always ways to prepare. In today's Health Minute, John Wilson talks about, with an allergist, how to lessen the impact of seasonal allergies.
It's that time of year again. The flowers, the sun, the pollen.
If you wait until you start to have symptoms, those allergy cells are already starting to get unhappy.
That's why allergist Dr. Christopher Brooks with the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center says if you're one of the millions who suffer from spring allergies, prepare now to lessen and even prevent some symptoms. He says to begin using sprays. Saline can help clear the nasal passages, and a steroid nasal spray can help reduce inflammation.
Some of the generics are things like fluticasone or mometasone. So starting 1 or 2 sprays per nostril every day, a week before symptoms start, will be a great place to start.
If sprays aren't for you, Brooks says to start a long-acting antihistamine pill before symptoms start. And once pollen is in the air, check pollen forecasts. Limit outdoor time at peak pollen time, continuing taking allergy medications, especially ones prescribed to you, and practice good hygiene, like washing hands and showering after being outside.
If they're keeping you from sleeping or keeping you from, living your fullest quality of life, I think it's a great idea to talk to your doctor, whether your primary care doctor or allergist, to look for next steps to help you make you feel better.
For Health Minute, I'm John Wilson.
A Lego brick so tiny it's the size of a blood cell. That's coming up in today's Take a Look at This. But first, your spring break storm team forecast. Just look at our live view from the Northeast Campus. It's going to be a great week. Don't go away.
You know you don't have to wear your PT gear anymore, right?
It's comfortable.
So how's civilian life treating you?
It's fine.
When I got out, I didn't want to admit that there was anything wrong because I felt like a failure. And then I realized, there's nothing to be ashamed of. So I started talking to someone. Maybe you are fine. But if you're not, it's okay.
Thank you.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
I am what hunger looks like in America. I am an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for the last day of school. Because this may be the last time I'll have lunch. Till September. I am a single father of 2 who works 3 part-time jobs. And that's still not enough to put food on the table. I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
My name is Teresa Barber. I was in the United States Navy and I served overseas in the Middle East and Africa. Early on in my career, I had a commander that taught our suicide prevention training on a Friday afternoon, and the very next day he took his own life. 90% of suicide attempts involving a gun are fatal. You don't know how much somebody can hide what's going on inside their head. Store your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
From the NewsFeed's Forecast Center, this is your Storm Team Forecast.
Welcome back to the Newsfeed. Clear skies over 635 in the North Tollway, but the wind is the issue today. Temperature continued to stay above normal. We're looking at a great deal of sunshine with a high of 82. Very windy this afternoon with gusts up and over 50 miles per hour. A windy afternoon, but temperatures will stay on the warm side. For this weekend, for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Friday will be partly cloudy with a high of 74. Saturday will be partly cloudy with a high of 80. And Sunday will be mostly sunny with a high of 73. And for your 5-day forecast, Monday will be mostly sunny with a high of 82. Tuesday will be partly cloudy with a high of 84. Wednesday will be looking partly cloudy with a high of 74. Thursday will look partly cloudy with a high of 66. And Friday will look partly cloudy at 74. A micro artist famous for creating incredible works too tiny to see just took his talent to the next level. He's now built the world's smallest Lego brick. Jeremy Roth has a story in today's Take a Look at This.
Take a look at the world's smallest Lego brick, which Guinness World Records says is roughly the same size as a human white blood cell. This infinitesimal trinket is the latest wondrous work of art by the UK's David A. Linden, a self-described micro artist who's made a career of creating and sometimes recreating fascinating objects so small they can't be seen without the aid of a microscope. Linden says it's an artistic challenge that is demanding both physically and mentally. His latest little labor of love, a series of tiny Lego bricks seen here on the head of a pin. The tiniest of which captured the record of world's smallest handmade sculpture, reportedly 4 times smaller than the previous record holder. Finally, speaking of toys for girls and boys, a vintage book on the subject is now an antiquity of note after being returned to a New Jersey library 99 years overdue. Mary Cooper found it among her late mother's belongings and could have been facing an estimated $18,000 in overdue fines. But thankfully, the Ocean County Library is now fine-free and instead is proudly displaying the readable relic in their historical archives. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Big money moves in the NFL. 2 superstars just crashed in with record-breaking deals. Plus, the Mavs take another tough hit, and it's not just in the standings. Cameron Wilcox has the details next in sports.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. High blood pressure silently affects millions of Americans. Staying on top of your blood pressure is as simple as these 4 easy steps. Self-monitoring is power. Visit manageyourbp.org to learn more.
Honey, what I think you need is a socket wrench.
I played JV basketball.
I'm sorry. I don't think it looks right.
This is good, and it's all good, baby.
Is it really all good?
If you love me enough to routinely test your handyman skills, not to mention the strength of your marriage, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/therightseat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
I'm gonna call my dad.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Everyone deserves to live a full life. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
For a place, a people, an idea, for right and freedom, for liberty and justice for all. For every square inch between fruited plains and spacious skies. Marines fight to win. See all the battles Marines fight to win at marines.com.
From the NewsFeed Sports Desk, this is the Sports Report.
Welcome back. More tough news for Mavs fans. Kyrie Irving is done for the season with a torn ACL. He went down last week against the Kings, injuring his knee on a layup. It's another hit for Dallas after trading Luka Doncic last month and losing Anthony Davis to injury shortly after. Myles Garrett has just secured the bag, becoming the highest paid non-QB in NFL history. The Browns star edged rusher signed a 4-year, $40 million per year extension through 2030 with a $123.5 million guaranteed contract. Garrett, the former #1 overall pick, already holds a franchise sack record and is second in the NFL since 2017. And another big-name player, Saquon Barkley, just made history, not just as a Super Bowl champ, but as the highest-paid running back ever. Reports say he signed a $41 million extension with the Eagles with $36 million guaranteed and more in incentives. LeBron James just made even more history. The Lakers star became the first player in NBA history to hit 50,000 combined points regular season and playoffs. He hit the milestone early in LA's win over the Pelicans and finished with 34 points. For a big-time deal in LA to big-time build in Tennessee, the Tennessee Titans' future home is taking shape. Construction on their new stadium is officially 1 year in. Right now, it's just a skeleton of what will eventually be a state-of-the-art facility. 85 feet taller than the current stadium, About 850 workers are on site daily, with more added every week to keep things moving.
The sight lines and how close everybody's going to be to the field is just way better than a lot of the facilities back there. Over time, everybody's figured out how to make the fans come in closer. Everybody's going to be really, really excited with their sight lines.
By year's end, the stadium will be fully enclosed with a terrace park and premium suites. The plan is to have it ready for February 2027. And finally in sports, 2 iconic rookie jerseys are hitting the auction block, Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant's. Sotheby's expects each to sell them for $10 million this spring. Both were photo matched to their NBA debuts, making them incredibly rare, and that's the Sports Spotlight.
The Alamo is one of San Antonio's most iconic landmarks, but a new discovery is shedding light on its past in a surprising way. Wait until you hear where part of its history actually began when the newsfeed returns.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Yo, camping buddy. Okay, you guys ready?
Dude, I thought you were driving.
I thought you were driving.
Oh, I never said I was driving.
I definitely can't drive.
Okay.
If you're high, just don't drive. It's illegal everywhere. If you feel different, you drive different.
I taught for 20 years, but I started forgetting my lectures. Eventually, he had to quit. My therapist recommended we go to the doctor. The early Alzheimer's diagnosis allowed us to take control of the situation. He's been such a positive force and so loving. Thank you. You're welcome.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's what white people think. You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
Remember the Alamo. It stood in San Antonio for centuries, but now we know more about its origins. Recently, experts discovered the limestone used to be built back in the 1700s, and it came from right under another popular city landmark. Joe DiCarlo has the story.
I heard the word this week that it was a positive match, that the rock used to build the Alamo came out of this portion of the quarry at San Antonio Zoo.
The zoo is constructing a new gorilla habitat set to open later this year. As part of the work, rocks from a quarry at the zoo are being moved.
Some folks that work at the Alamo noticed the construction, said we should go test that rock.
Historical records from the Alamo have indicated a source north of downtown, but it was never specifically confirmed.
We've always known that the quarry had a part in building San Antonio. What we did not know was that direct relationship to the Alamo.
Like the zoo, the Alamo is also under construction, undergoing a $550 million redevelopment and restoration that could use original stone.
The timing could not be better, because just as we begin this work, and we are starting to find voids where we need replacement stone, now we have an accurate and authentic source of that stone.
Two San Antonio landmarks now bound together forever.
So I think fate really led us here.
You have these two iconic Texas destinations where people come from all over the world to visit, and all over San Antonio and Texas to visit, and we're both having this incredible reimagination and having impact on tourism in San Antonio and the history and the education of the people that come to visit us.
And that is all we have for you this afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week after spring break. Have a great weekend.